What up, nerds?
Shaboy!
I'm Jared, and this is Changelog News for the week of Monday, August 12th, 2024. Has Open-ish LLM quality parity arrived? Llama 3.1 is close enough for me. I'm in the process of ditching ChatGPT in a tab as my daily driver. So far, Ollama plus Enchanted for Mac are proving to be a powerful combo.
Big combo!
What else should I be using or doing to maximize my gains? Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's get into the news. The best, worst codebase. Jimmy Miller writes on his blog, quote, "My first job was a trial by fire. To this day, that codebase remains the worst and the best codebase I have ever had the pleasure of working in. While the codebase will forever remain locked by proprietary walls of that particular company, I hope I can share with you some of its most fun and scary stories." End quote. This post is too glorious to summarize. Just grab some popcorn and go read it. Okay, fine. Here's a few samples to whet your appetite. Talking about the database, quote, "Every morning at 7:15, the employees table was dropped. All the data completely gone. Then a CSV from ADP was uploaded into the table. During this time, you couldn't log into the system. Sometimes this process failed, but this wasn't the end of the process. The data needed to be replicated to headquarters, so an email was sent to a man who every day would push a button to copy the data." End quote. And here's one on the codebase. Quote, "But to describe this codebase as merely half Visual Basic, half C# would be to do it a disservice. Every JavaScript framework that existed at the time was checked into this repository, typically with some custom changes the author believed needed to be made. Most notably, Knockout, Backbone, and Marionette. But of course, there was a smattering of jQuery and jQuery plugins." End quote. That's just the tip. Wait till you hear the part about Guilfoyle's hard drive. The great NPM garbage patch. The Phylum Research Team writes, quote, "Like the island of discarded plastic twice the size of Texas, floating in the North Pacific Ocean, NPM has accrued an astonishing amount of spam packages over the past 6 months. Our 95% confidence interval for the estimate of T, that's TEA, the protocol spam, in new packages over the past 6 months jumped to between 68.66% and 74.67%, or somewhere between 613,000 and 667,000 packages. In other words, among all new packages published to NPM in the past 6 months, about 5 out of every 7 packages are T spam." End quote. I first covered the unintended consequence of the T protocol's crypto rewards back in February. That was episode 83. It appears the damage is even worse than previously discovered. What a mess.
That is one big pile of shit.
The sneaky costs of scaling serverless. Zach Leatherman decided to migrate the 11D Screenshots API off Netlify and learned a few things along the way. He ended up parking it on AWS Lambda, but shares the entire journey, plus a handy little spreadsheet that shows how different serverless providers grow based on hours of usage at various memory configurations. Link in the newsletter. Zach's final word on AWS is, "It's a huge pain to set up, but it's nice to have a fallback plan that isn't going to cost an arm and a leg." It's now time for sponsored news. Dangers of compromised Git dependencies. Sarah Gooding on the risks associated with using Git dependencies in open source projects. Quote, "While there are some legitimate use cases for referencing Git dependencies, and not every package that does this is malicious, it's important to understand the security risks associated with them, such as non-immutable dependencies, which means code can be tampered with after it's downloaded. Unpredictability, because Git tags can be moved around, much like a branch. Reproducibility issues, because remote Git URLs can make it difficult to ensure a reproducible build. And security vulnerabilities, because direct references to Git repos can bypass typical vetting processes. Is this something you actively think about? Thankfully, Socket has your back. Check out the article for the full rundown and how to navigate Socket's Git dependency alert features. Link in your chapter data and the newsletter. And thanks to Faraz and our friends at Socket for sponsoring this episode of Changelog News. Do quests, not goals. I love David Cain's reframing of short-term goals, which are uninspiring, into quests. Quote, whereas goal has become a tired and bloodless descriptor for the supposed intention to do something great, the word quest instills the right mentality for achieving a real-life, personal victory. A quest is an adventure, and you expect it to be one. A quest changes you, not just your situation. A quest has a dragon to slay, and it's inside you. Kinda creepy. And a quest can change the world. End quote. The cool thing about quests is we already have terminology that further delineates. A side quest might take a few hours of your day, whereas a main quest may require a multi-step plan executed over many months or years. Plus, it's just a lot more fun to talk about. Saying, I'm on a side quest to fix my Vim config is a lot more fun and impressive than saying, I've been tweaking my Vim config for the last 4 hours. 7 rules for an effective meeting culture. Meetings. Everybody likes calling them. Nobody likes attending them. Unfortunately, they are a necessary evil for all but the most privileged or most isolated in the business world. So if you're going to have them, you might as well make them effective. Here's Ashley Janssen. Quote, your meeting culture is the combination of etiquette, protocol, and expectations for what happens before, during, and after your meetings. It's all the things, good and bad, that make up how they are run and inform the participants' experience in the meeting. End quote. Ashley has written a lot about how to have more effective meetings. I think this list of 7 rules to follow is a great intro to how she thinks about meetings. In brief, 1. Be on time. 2. Be prepared. 3. Be engaged. 4. Be a good listener. 5. Be inclusive. 6. Be accountable. And 7. Be reasonable. Common sense stuff, really, but that doesn't make it wrong. Click through for full explainers of each rule. Link in the newsletter. That's the news for now, but we have some awesome episodes coming up this week. On Wednesday, Andreas Kling and Chris Wanstroth from the Ladybird browser. And on Friday, Jordan Eldridge talking Winamp skins and the bizarre secrets they hold. Have a great week. Leave us a 5-star review if you dig Changelog News, and I'll talk to you again real soon.